Okay, so I know that in this question, most of you would probably agree with me that the uglier side is on the right over here. But I actually think I'm going to start with the left-hand side. So I guess this time it's not so much the uglier side, it's just the side, or the one that I'm going to start with. So I'm going to break the mold a little bit. Now, when we say, it's a guideline to start with that uglier side, it's just a recommendation. There are exceptions to every rule like that. So I'm going to see what happens if we work with cosine of 4t. Now, the reason why I want to do that, again, I'm focusing on um, the double angle rules that I have right here, right? So I want to apply a double angle rule here and just see where it goes. So if you use cosine of 4t, I'm actually going to think of this as cosine of 2 times 2t. The reason why I want to do that is this inside 2t, this inner one, the box around it, here, right? This is really the piece that I'm going to focus on, or that I'm going to use, okay? So we said double, so I'm going to pick the cosine identity because there's only cosines on this right-hand side. I'm going to pick the cosine identity with other cosines in it. So I'm going to say this is cosine, 2 cosine, squared, and instead of that theta, that item that normally goes here, I'm going to put 2t, because it was double of this, right? And it's going to be that minus 1, right? This is a double angle identity. Cosine 2 theta equals 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. Okay, but do you notice we have another squared identity here? But I actually would like to rewrite this one as well. I'm going to write this as 2 parentheses cosine of that 2t quantity squared. Now, I'm still not squaring the 2t. This is not 4t squared, but it's just another way of writing cosine squared minus 1. Okay, so what can we do with that? The reason why I wanted to write it like that is I can apply my double angle identity again. And I'm going to pick the same cosine identity. And again, my logic behind that is on the right-hand side of our equation, or of our identity, we've got all cosines. So that's probably the right direction to go. Remember, like we saw in the last one, you can always adjust if that's wrong. So now I don't need to write anything differently. This is just a regular looking cosine identity. So it's 2 times 2 cosine squared 2t minus 1 squared minus 1. Okay, do we see that transition, right? That 2t gave us this entire inner thing right here. Now just clean it up, right? So I see that we can square that. So this becomes 2 times 4 cosine to the 4th of 2t. It'd be minus double, so minus 2, that'd be 4 also, cosine squared 2t plus 1 with that minus 1 outside. So that's foiling or multiplying, whichever you'd like to call it. Okay. Then I can distribute that 2, right? So if we distribute the 2, all the way down there, you get 8 cosine to the 4th 2t minus 8 cosine squared 2t plus 2 minus 1. And I do want to reference that we're pretty close to what we were doing, right? So we've got 2 times cosine t squared t. We've got 2 times 2 cosine squared t minus 1 squared minus 1. So now what we want to do, pretty much it's algebra from here down. Let's square out that 2 cosine squared t minus 1. So I've got 2, this is 4 cosine to the 4th t minus, we multiply those two and double them, right? So that's also going to be a 4 cosine squared t plus a 1 minus 1 outside the parentheses. So that's FOIL on multiply, right? And then I can distribute that 2, right, into all the terms over here. So that becomes 8 cosine to the 4th t minus also 8 cosine squared t plus 2 minus 1, okay? And then the last thing we need to do really is just simplify those two. You've got 8 cosine to the 4th t minus 8 cosine squared t plus 1, whichever of those two you want to say. And that's it. We match our other identity. Now, I don't know that going in the reverse direction would have been quite as nice, right? I don't know that it's obvious, to split that 1 up, or that going from more complicated to simple would have even worked in this case. So I would say kind of think about, the sections that we're in or the sections we've covered, and think about the properties or the identities you can use that are relevant to the topics we were covering. Okay? All right, I will see you in the next one.